across the country. Now we are having, I think, a very good tomato season. So Mairlyn Smith is here to show us what we can do with them. Tomatoes, so good for your health, and people get so excited when they grow good tomatoes.
I
think it's been a very good year.
Yes.
But there's a lot we could learn about tomatoes. There's so many different varieties. You've brought a whole bunch down. You're going to give us a little lesson.
I am, because, you know, I'm a home economist, and I'm all about if you know, then you're better off.
Yes,
okay?
absolutely.
Now, in Ontario alone, we grow over 300 varieties. So there's bazillions of varieties out there. But the most common ones, come on down here for the most common ones.
Okay.
So basically, this time of the year, these are called field tomatoes.
Okay.
And field tomatoes are grown in the field.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's such a smart name. Anyway, and you can get them, you know, in the baskets, and you know that they're actually from a field. Okay. And then they have beefsteak tomatoes, which are these really great big babies.
Yes.
These are fantastic in sandwiches. They're more meaty. They're more beefsteak, you know, kind of like supposed to be a sexy tomato. I don't know if you like big, okay? So there you go. And then we have we have a huge hothouse industry in Ontario.
Huge, Southwestern
and
Ontario,
British Columbia. Yeah, they're both ginormous.
Okay.
And so a lot of these are now hothouse. And so we have grape tomatoes, and grape tomatoes are the mini version of a plum tomato or a Roma. But the baby ones you can put in salads. They're really great for snacking.
Yeah.
Now these ones, that's a hothouse. Now these babies are called green zebra, and I got those at the farmer's market. So they're more of an heirloom tomato, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then you can get different varieties of the actual grape. And then there's cherry tomatoes, and cherry tomatoes are gushier, so they kind of explode in your mouth.
They do.
Kaboom! Right? Okay, so
you don't want to chop those up and put them in the salad; they get all mushy. But the grape ones are better.
I love the grape in a salad. I totally do. I totally do. And then you have cocktail tomatoes. I don't know why they call them cocktail tomatoes, because I don't know if you'd have them in a cocktail. They're kind of big, but anyway.
You're supposed to have them with your cocktail.
Oh, but maybe cut in half.
Your martini and then have a tomato.
Oh, well, you could put that in one bite, you know.
So I don't know.
We won't eat that one again. Oh, anyway, okay. And then there's lots of different kinds of varieties of tomatoes now they have, and this is one of my favorites. It's called Kumato, like tomato.
Yes.
So maybe it's Kamado, I don't know, but it's kind of purpley green, and it's got a sweeter, not as acidic flavor, and it's really yummy in a sandwich as well. And then you've got the orange guys, and there's even pink ones, and I don't know where the rest of the pink went. We took them apart. Oh, here's one.
Are those pink
So
ones?
these are little pink ones. If I cut it in half,
pinkish.
it's kind of pinky. Oh, you can't really tell on television.
Totally.
Sorry, I'm moving the camera.
Whatever.
Oh, let's play with the camera guy.
You will get a shot.
Where is she gonna put him now?
You will get a shot. Never.
Never.
You know what? Is there a difference in price with the what's the cheapest one? Is what I really want to know.
The field ones, because they're seasonal.
Okay.
That would be your best buy.
All right.
But okay.
And they're all good nutritionally.
Oh, they all have
the same, right?
vitamin C. They're fantastic for you.
Okay.
Now, there's actually research from Australia that there might be a link between the people who eat a lot of tomatoes and not developing melanoma. But it's just research. It's really preliminary, but tomatoes are good for you. And the lycopene, which is the antioxidant that's been linked to lower prostate cancer, the tomato has to be cooked and in the presence of a fat for your body to absorb it more. So there's lycopene in all tomatoes, but it's more absorbable. It's more absorbable or whatever when it's cooked and in the presence of fat. So that's important. Now these babies are heirlooms.
Yeah.
And heirlooms you can pretty much just get at a farmer's market, or you can get them at some grocery stores. I got these at Loblaws. The reason they're heirlooms is because originally they didn't transport very well, and they're considered ugly.
Yeah.
I think they're gorgeous. But like, look at that one. I mean, that's kind of yucky, but it's really sweet.
Well, it looks like a bum.
It's called, funnily enough, a bum tomato.
Like a bum. But that's the thing. There's so many vegetables that are so good for you that never make it in the store just because, you know, they look like a bum.
I know.
It's good for you.
And they are, and they have a different flavor.
Different
flavor, but they didn't transport because they got a thinner skin, but they have fabulous flavor, and you really should experiment buying heirloom tomatoes. They're a bit more expensive, but I had a tomato guy at my farmer's market, and he left. He's gone to another farmer's market. Thiessen Farms.
Go follow him.
Well, he's way far away.
Oh,
anyway.
well.
Okay, so now some tomatoes are, you know, out of hand. They say that's, you know, you can put them in a salad or eat them in your hand.
Yes.
And others are more for cooking with.
Okay.
And these guys, that's the pink one. These guys are Roma or plum tomatoes, and they have a lot more meat, like more fleshy, and so you really would only cook with this tomato. Don't put this in a salad. People are going to go, what the heck is that? Okay, so two things you could do with them is freeze them, and the way you freeze them is you just stick them in a plastic, well, you wash them and dry them and stick them in a plastic bag. I don't peel them because they peel really good when they're frozen, so I freeze them, and then when I take them out of the freezer, I do a little X on the bottom, dump this into hot water or whatever, and the skin just pulls right off.
And why would you freeze it to begin with? Just to have them last longer?
Have them last longer and have that taste of summer, you know, all the way through, you know, February. But I honestly think this takes up a ton of room, and you know, you can can tomatoes if you want, but that's a lot of work too. I like canning, but not tomatoes.
With some families.
I know, and that's really cool. But what I like to do is dry them. So I roast them in the oven. And so basically, you just get all these basically plum tomatoes. Oh, just a little note. I was showing this before. You need a really sharp knife or a serrated knife to cut a tomato.
Oh, really?
So don't be using a little dull knife.
I know for sure the sharp, but I wouldn't think to use my serrated.
The serrated one works really well because it's kind of like cutting bread, so it works out really well. So you'd fill an entire tray with your plum tomatoes, or your Roma, and then you drizzle a little bit. This is really essential. A little bit of oil over top, or not very much, and then the secret ingredient is the balsamic vinegar.
So good.
And I love this balsamic vinegar because it's really authentic, and that's going to give a fabulous flavor in the oven. You roast them for about an hour at 425. If you want more color, an hour and a half. And then when they come out, you put them in your blender. Now this looked all chunky, but when we plugged it in, it was on. So it already, you know, pulsed it. So
that's okay.
I'm just happy I'm wearing white and I didn't wear it. So anyway, you just pulse it up, and then this has the most amazing flavor. I put it in the jar just for show and tell, but I freeze this in a plastic bag with the date, and in the middle of like January, when you want to kill yourself, you basically open this up and you go, it's summer in my mouth. Yeah, right. So there you go. It's cinched.
That is such a smart idea. We're going to cook. We're going to make some recipes a little bit later with these tomatoes.